Hi, I'm Ian. Welcome back to Pool School. In this section, we will be going over pool chemical testing. It is very important to test your chemicals after a heavy rain or a weather storm. Today, we will be going over your sanitizer, your pH, and your alkalinity. There are two common types of test kits, a titration test kit and test strips. Test strips should only be used as a quick reference, whereas a titration test kit gives you more accurate readings. Please defer to the directions for your type of test kit and chemicals used in this video for testing methods, storage, shelf life, and usage. The most common type of sanitizer is chlorine. Chlorine destroys the algae, bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other kinds of organic materials. There are three types of common chlorine sanitizer used in pool chemistry: liquid chlorine, salt, and chlorine tablets. Liquid chlorine and salts are unstabilized or free chlorine. These types of chlorine are also very effective in oxidation as well. Tablets are considered stabilized or residual chlorine. Liquid chlorine is at most marketplaces and is commonly referred to as bleach. This can be used for sanitizing a pool, but the strength is usually at least half that of pool chlorine. Pool chlorine is usually sold at hardware and pool stores. The second common type of chlorine is sodium chloride, also known as salt. It produces unstabilized chlorine through electrolysis. Pool salt will be sold at all hardware and pool stores. Chlorine tablets are the third type of common sanitizer. They are also the most commonly used. They are usually placed in skimmer baskets, floater, and equipment side at erosion feeders. However, we do not recommend prolonged usage in skimmer baskets. Here are some tables on the advantages and disadvantages of each type of chlorine. Liquid chlorine, also known as sodium hypochlorite. Some of the advantages are that it is completely soluble in water, it is the least costly out there, and there is no cloudy water. The disadvantages are you end up with high pH levels, a short shelf life, and you have to be careful handling it because it'll instantly bleach clothes, carpets, decks, and other items. Chlorine tablets, also known as calcium hypochlorite. The advantages of this are it's easy to handle and store. It lasts longer. For soft water, it increases your total calcium. For soft water, it helps increase the hardness. The disadvantages are, again, high pH. For hard water, it lets the hardness get too high. It also causes cloudy water until it's completely dissolved. Now that you have a brief introduction into chlorine, let's show you how to test your chlorine. The acceptable range for chlorine is 1 to 3 parts per million. Always take your sample from the deep end or middle, away from skimmers or returns. Once you have filled the comparator tube to the designated line directed by your test kit, add the reagents as instructed. This should yield a colored sample in the comparator tube. You will match this up to the color chart provided with the test kit, usually on the comparator tube itself. If your sample is too low, up the production of sanitizer being dispensed by your sanitation system. Retest the pool water after 24 to 48 hours to see if any further adjustments are needed. If your sample is too high, turn off or lower the production of your chlorine sanitation system. Again, retest in 24 to 48 hours to see if any further adjustments are needed. The next test we will be doing is for the pH of your water. The pH is a measurement of the acidity or the basicness of your pool water. That range is between 7.4 and 7.6. Here are some typical problems you will see with prolonged improper pH balance. Having low pH makes a corrosive water environment. It pits the concrete, dissolves metal, eats up pool heat exchangers, and it'll stain your pool surface. High pH will cause scaling water. It creates a white film and crusty deposits along the tile line and on your surface. It also plugs your filters and reduces circulation. You'll also end up with cloudy pool water. Now take the comparator tube and collect a water sample in the manner we did for the chlorine sample. Once you have filled the comparator tube to the instructed line, you will add a reagent that will give you a colored water sample. After matching your water sample in the comparator tube, you will know whether you are too high or too low on the pH scale. If your pH was high, you will be adding hydrochloric acid, commonly known as muriatic acid. If your sample is too low, you will be adding baking soda to your pool water. Also, most test kits offer another reagent to add to your water sample to determine how much baking soda or muriatic acid you will be needing to add. So don't throw it away just yet. This is determined by adding 1 drop at a time of the specified reagent, then swirling in between drops. You will be adding drops of the reagent until the color sample is in the ideal range for pH. You can refer to the chart provided with your test kit to determine the proper amount of chemical dosage. The last test performed will be for total alkalinity. Total alkalinity is often referred to as a buffering agent for your pool water. It keeps your other pool chemistry from rapid fluctuation. The acceptable range for total alkalinity is between 80 and 120 parts per million. Some common problems with improper total alkalinity. Low total alkalinity is a lot like pH. It'll give you a corrosive water environment. It'll pitch your concrete, dissolve your metals, and also stain the surfaces of your pool. The high alkalinity will give you scaling on your pool surface, it'll cloudy up the water, and it also reduce the amount of circulation, and it'll also clog your filter. Total alkalinity is also adjusted in the same manner as pH. If it is too low, baking soda is added. And if it is too high, then you add muriatic acid. Now for testing. Taking the comparator tube and filling it with the sample to the correct line, you will add and swirl the reagents as directed by your test kit. Now that you have a colored sample, you will add dropwise a reagent until a color change occurs. Remember to swirl in between drops. The number of drops you add will indicate your total alkalinity levels. 8 drops would mean 80 parts per million, and 12 drops would mean 120 parts per million. The test kits usually offer a chart for proper dosage depending on whether you are too high or too low. Thank you for joining us for this segment of Pool School. Check the description box below for even more information on water chemistry. And don't forget to have your water tested monthly by a pool professional. And remember, at Cox Pools, if you can dream it, we can build it.